shot, man around! Pull up, pull up!
Is this Jimmy? Father.
6 Japanese fighters wheeled overhead. A solitary Allied bomber hobbled across the heavens, wings riddled, one engine spewing smoke. The crew braced for the fatal blow at any moment, but the pilot executed a maneuver that defied every regulation in the book. He eased back on the throttle, reducing speed almost to stall point. The enemy fighters surged ahead, disoriented, their orderly array shattering in the air. What followed would be analyzed in aviation academies for generations. New Guinea, 1943. The skies over the Solomon Islands held no poetry. They reeked of aviation gasoline and scorched metal. Inside a B-17 flying fortress at 25,000 feet, the cockpit became a furnace of humidity and tension. Radio transmissions crackled with interference and urgency. Far below, the jungle sprawled vast and verdant, devouring downed aircraft without trace. This was the 5th Air Force under General George Kenney. They conducted extended sorties over open ocean with zero room for mistakes. Engine failure meant ditching in the sea. Ditching meant vanishing forever. The Japanese held aerial dominance in key areas, their Zero fighters swifter, nimbler, piloted by veterans honed from early training. American bomber crews suffered losses that haunted planners through sleepless nights. The equation was stark and merciless. Each operation claimed aircraft and lives. Fresh pilots arrived regularly, inexperienced and wide-eyed. Some survived a handful of missions, others just one. Into this relentless cycle came Captain J. Zima, Jr. He hardly resembled a typical combat aviator, tall and slender, bespectacled with frames that steamed up in the tropical dampness. An MIT alumnus with a civil engineering degree, he communicated in precise, measured phrases, as though each statement underwent rigorous review for soundness. His fellow airmen dubbed him Zima, or privately, the scholar. Zima devoured knowledge voraciously. While comrades gambled or penned homesick letters, he pored over technical schematics, debriefings, and intercepted Japanese aviation guidelines in the barracks' dimness. He annotated edges with sketches. He posed inquiries that frustrated superiors. Why engage fighters always on their terms? What if we ceased attempting to flee them outright? He defied the archetype. Fighter aces were meant to be brash, intuitive, bold. Zima was analytical. He deliberated. He reconsidered. This rendered him suspect in command's view, not to foes, but to protocol. They shuffled him between units repeatedly, like an unneeded component. He served as co-pilot, substituted for the ill, accumulated flight time without leading a dedicated team. It amounted to subtle banishment. The conflict abounded with such figures, skilled enough to retain, too, unconventional for advancement. Then circumstances changed. Zima began seeking the assignments others shunned. Solitary reconnaissance deep in hostile zones, with obsolete aircraft and minimal support. Aerial surveying, data collection, tasks where success yielded intelligence or failure yielded nothing. He gathered a team of overlooked souls, individuals sidelined, undervalued, or deemed expendable. A bombardier scarred by illness, a navigator who survived oceanic wreckage by swimming miles. Gunners demoted for insubordination. They followed Zima because he preserved lives without theatrics. He refurbished a battered B-17, bolstering defensive armament with additional fixed machine guns, including forward-facing ones. He computed fuel margins meticulously. He instructed his team not with rhetoric, but with facts, projected time on station, contingency routes, glide distances in failures. It lacked drama. It proved reliable. On June 16, 1943, Zima's team received an assignment universally viewed as suicidal. Solitary photographic reconnaissance over Bougainville and Buka, entrenched Japanese territory, capture images of airfields and harbours, anticipate fierce opposition, no escort, no reinforcement, deemed voluntary due to peril. Zima accepted instantly. His crew consented not from recklessness, but faith in his assessments. J. Zima Jr. entered the world in 1918 in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. His father, a longtime officer, his mother, a pianist and poetry enthusiast. The home carried scents of tobacco and aged volumes. Evening discussions centered on reasoning, riddles, structural challenges. Jay grasped young that accuracy trumped fervor. He attended high school in Maine, neither standout nor outcast, merely unobtrusive. He participated in debate and science groups. He crafted precise scale models of aircraft, fixating on balance and aerodynamics. Educators noted his thoroughness. Peers found him peculiar. He matriculated at MIT in 1936, pursuing civil engineering. Weekends in libraries over spectacles. Graduated 1940 with solid marks but uncertain path. War loomed globally, yet Zima's height exceeded standard cockpit limits, his demeanor too reserved for leadership roles. He enlisted regardless, cleared flight school, mid-pack, neither exemplary nor failing. Trainers praised his mechanics knowledge but doubted his combat drive. Reviews cited hesitation in drills, excessive deliberation, assigned to heavy bombers, then rotated repeatedly. Some resented transfers as blemishes. Zima viewed them as data sources. He observed squadron variances, identified effective versus fatal practices. He maintained journals. Crew observed his composure, unflinching amid crises, engine flames over the Bismarck Sea, flak breaches. He verbalized issues dispassionately, pressure declining, descent rate adjustments. It unsettled some, steadied others. No panic, only information. Zima detected patterns. Japanese attack vectors repetitive, flak predictable by height and velocity, foes faltering at unconventional bomber behavior. He experimented subtly. Minor speed tweaks, timed deviations, altitude shifts disrupting enemy aim, subtle compliant changes and returns increased. Losses dropped marginally but noticeably. Others attributed fortune. Zima, variance, no gloating, continuous iteration. By mid-1943, over 40 missions flown. Still captain, still peripheral, still the intellectual. But his crew's allegiance transcended hierarchy. They knew he valued their existence over spectacle. That bond faced trial on June 16th morning, boarding their patched B-17 toward Bougainville, odds stacked, yet confident in Zima's computations. The 5th Air Force's 1943 dilemma was tactical and numerical. Bombers fell faster than production. Japanese Zeros excelled in dogfights, lighter, superior turning, crewed by seasoned aces. U.S. strategy emphasized velocity and height. Ascend, release payload, retreat. Ineffective against climbing Zia. Coordinated assaults exploiting vulnerabilities. Escorts scarce over vast Pacific. Crews isolated. Debriefs revealed patterns. Heaviest losses post-bombing during pursuits. Bombers fled. Zeros overtook. Exploited rear blindsides. Doctrine. Full power. Distance gain. Hope. Zima perceived alternative. Energy dynamics. High-velocity Zero possessed inertia. Deceleration lagged. Abrupt bomber slowdown forced overshoot. Brief window for gunners, pure mechanics. Also radical, contravening speed equals safety training, demanded exquisite timing. He proposed it, rejected as hazardous. Zima ceased advocacy, but persisted mentally. June 16, 1943. Dawn lingered over Port Moresby. Jungle buzzed. Crews labored quietly, sealing leaks, fueling. Zima's B-17, old 666, scarred veteran, anchored the line. Brief, concise, north to Bougainville coast, map installations, Recon Buka Airfield. High interception likely. Zima inspected personally, verified loads, briefed factually. Takeoff early darkness. Low flight evading detection. Ocean void below. By dawn, target reached. Ascend for photography. Images captured. Strips, depots, vessels. Then zeros emerged. 17 scrambling. Rear alerted. Zima steady. Complete run. Zeros probed. Awaited error. Run finished. Turn homeward. Interception. Bursts tore fuselage. Zima observed patterns. Predictable. Frontal assaults came. Zima turned sharply into attackers, just evading fire arcs, forcing rolls exposing flanks to defenders. Learned prior. Gunners claimed kills. 5 confirmed. 1 crewman mortally hit yet fought on. Zima wounded severely. Legs shattered. Arms, blood loss, yet maneuvered expertly, dove evasively. Foes disengaged, damaged, depleted. Bomber riddled. Systems failed, but aloft. Emergency landing. Belly skid. Safe. Photos vital. Informed invasions. Debrief. Zima explained maneuvers calmly. Awards followed. Zima and Bombardier Medals of Honor. Crew Distinguished Service Crosses. Most Decorated Mission. Zima grounded by injuries. Trained stateside. Emphasizing thought. Physics in chaos. Tactics evolved. Energy fighting unpredictability. Losses declined measurably, partly from such adaptations. Zima post-war, engineer, family man, modest, died 2007. Intellect as armament, calculation preserving lives. In war, cleverest play not always swiftest, sometimes unexpected.